The blood on my daughter's hospital gown was still wet when the doctor told me they might lose the baby. Harper's face, unrecognizable. Swollen, purple, broken. Her boyfriend Dominic did this. Beat her unconscious while she begged him to stop, while she protected her belly with both hands. 7 months pregnant. The nurses whispered he kicked her stomach repeatedly, laughing. Told her if she survived, he'd finish the job. He threatened to kill my grandchild. That monster made one fatal mistake, though. He had no idea who Harper's father was. Hit like, subscribe for more betrayal stories, and comment your city or country. My name is Victor, retired Special Forces. 23 years serving this country, and I've seen evil in every form it takes. But nothing prepared me for that phone call at 2:47 a.m. Mr. Callahan? This is Grace Memorial Hospital. Your daughter Harper was brought in by ambulance. She's in critical condition. You need to come now. Critical condition. Those words hit harder than any bullet I'd ever dodged. I was dressed and in my truck within 90 seconds. The 40-minute drive took me 23. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white. Harper was my only child. Her mother died when she was 6. Cancer took her fast. Since then, it had been just us two against the world. Harper was strong, independent, smart as hell, studying to be a pediatric nurse. At 24, she had her whole life mapped out. 6 months ago, she started dating some guy named Dominic. I met him once. Didn't like him. Too smooth. Too charming. The kind of man who smiles while he lies. But Harper was an adult. I couldn't control her choices. I raised her to be strong, to trust her instincts. I thought I'd taught her enough. I was wrong. The hospital parking lot was almost empty. I ran through the emergency entrance, my heart hammering against my ribs. Harper Callahan, I told the nurse at the desk. My voice came out rougher than I intended. She looked at me with those sad, knowing eyes medical staff get when they've seen too much tragedy. Room 237. Second floor. But sir, you should speak with Dr. Chen first. I was already moving. The elevator took forever. When the doors finally opened on the second floor, I saw a uniformed police officer standing outside one of the rooms. That's when the cold reality hit me. This wasn't an accident. This was a crime scene. I'm her father, I said, approaching the officer. He nodded, stepping aside. Detective Blake is inside. He'll want to speak with you. I pushed through the door and froze. Harper lay in that hospital bed looking like she'd been through a war. Her face was swollen beyond recognition. Black and purple bruises covered every visible inch of skin. Her left eye was swollen completely shut. Tubes and wires connected her to machines that beeped rhythmically, and 4 drip fed into her arm. But it was her belly that made my blood run cold. Even through the hospital gown, I could see the dark bruising across her pregnant stomach. A man in a suit approached me. Mid-40s, tired eyes, detective's badge clipped to his belt. Mr. Callahan? I'm Detective Blake. I'm so sorry you have to see your daughter like this. What happened? My voice barely worked. Blake pulled out a small notepad. Your daughter's boyfriend, Dominic Cross, beat her unconscious in their apartment approximately 4 hours ago. A neighbor heard screaming and called 911. When paramedics arrived, they found Harper on the floor, barely breathing. Dominic was gone. Gone. He fled the scene. We have a warrant out for his arrest. Aggravated assault, attempted murder, and assault on an unborn child. Attempted murder. The words echoed in my skull. The baby? I managed to ask. A woman in scrubs entered the room. Dr. Chun, according to her name tag. Mr. Callahan, I'm the attending physician. Your daughter suffered severe trauma. Multiple contusions, 2 cracked ribs, a fractured cheekbone, and significant abdominal trauma. We're monitoring the baby closely. Right now, the heartbeat is stable, but the next 48 hours are critical. Any shift could, will they survive? I cut her off. Dr. Chen hesitated. Your daughter is strong. She's fighting. The baby is fighting. But I won't lie to you. It's touch and go. I moved to Harper's bedside. Took her hand carefully, afraid I might hurt her. Her fingers were cold. Baby girl, I whispered. Daddy's here. You're safe now. Detective Blake cleared his throat. Mr. Callahan, I need to ask, did Harper ever mention any domestic violence? Any signs of abuse? I thought back over the past 6 months. Harper had become distant, stopped visiting as often, always had excuses, canceled family dinners, wore long sleeves even in summer. My gut had screamed something was wrong, but I'd ignored it. Told myself she was just busy with school and her relationship. No, I admitted, the guilt crushing my chest. I didn't see it. I should have seen it. Blake's expression softened. Abusers are experts at isolation. They cut victims off from families slowly, methodically. This isn't your fault. But it felt like my fault. I was trained to protect people, to identify threats. And I'd missed the biggest threat to my daughter's life because he smiled and shook my hand. We'll find him, Blake continued. Dominic Cross won't get far. His photo is being circulated to every officer in the state. A nurse entered, checking Harper's vitals. She adjusted the 4 and made notes on a tablet. She should wake up within the next few hours, the nurse said gently. The sedation is wearing off. When she does, she'll be in pain. We're managing it, but she'll need you. I nodded, unable to speak. Detective Blake left his card on the table. Call me if you need anything. Or if Harper wakes up and can give a statement. Then I was alone with my broken daughter. I sat in that uncomfortable hospital chair and watched her breathe. Every rise and fall of her chest felt like a miracle. My mind raced through 23 years of military training, trying to process what I'd do when they found Dominic Cross. The rage inside me was cold, calculated. I'd spent decades learning to control violence, to channel it strategically. Dominic Cross had no idea what he'd started. Around 6 a.m., Harper's fingers twitched. Her one good eye fluttered open slowly, unfocused and confused. Dad, her voice was barely a whisper, broken and raw. I'm here, baby. I'm right here. Tears leaked from her eye, cutting through the bruises. He said he'd kill me. Kill the baby. I couldn't stop him. My heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. You're safe now, I promised. He'll never touch you again. Harper's hand squeezed mine weakly. Dad, you don't understand. Dominic, he's not done. He told me. Even if I survived, he'd find me. He'd take the baby and. She couldn't finish. The sobs took over, racking her broken body. I leaned close, keeping my voice steady despite the fury burning through my veins. Harper, listen to me. I spent 23 years hunting the worst people on this planet. Dominic Cross just made the biggest mistake of his life. He came after my family. Harper looked at me with fear still swimming in her eye. He doesn't know who he's dealing with, I continued. And he's about to find out. Harper stayed in the hospital for 5 days. The baby survived. Doctors called it a miracle. I called it my granddaughter's fighting spirit. On day 3, Detective Blake returned with news. They'd arrested Dominic at his parents' estate 2 counties over. Rich family, connections, the whole package. He posted $50,000 bail within 6 hours. He's out. Harper's voice shook when I told her. Restraining orders in place. He comes within 500 feet, he goes back to jail. She laughed bitterly. A piece of paper won't stop him, Dad. You don't know what he's capable of. I pulled my chair closer. Then tell me. Everything. Harper took a breath, wincing from her healing ribs. It started small. Comments about my clothes, my friends. Then he wanted my phone password. Said couples shouldn't have secrets. I thought it was sweet at first. How stupid was I? Not stupid. Manipulated. There's a difference. 3 months in, he slapped me. Apologized for hours. Cried. Bought me flowers. Said his father used to hit his mother, and he was scared he'd become like him. I felt sorry for him. She paused. The hitting got worse, but only where clothes would cover it. He was smart like that. My jaw clenched. Why didn't you call me? He took my phone. Monitored everything. Said if I told anyone, he'd make sure I never saw you again. He knew people, Dad. Dangerous people. I was terrified. When did you find out you were pregnant? 2 months ago. I thought maybe a baby would change him. Make him stop. Her voice cracked. It made him worse. He said the baby wasn't his. Called me terrible things. That night, he came home drunk. Started yelling about how I trapped him. I tried to leave, and he just snapped. I held her hand. He's not getting away with this. I promise you. His family has money. Lawyers. They'll make this disappear. Not this time. The next morning, I met with a lawyer named Morgan. Sharp woman, mid-30s, specialized in domestic violence cases. Mr. Callahan, I'll be direct. Dominic's family is wealthy. They've already hired Quentin Stone, one of the best defense attorneys in the state. This will be a battle. I don't care about battles. I care about my daughter's safety and that monster behind bars. Morgan nodded. Then we document everything. Photos, medical records, Harper's testimony. We build a case so airtight no amount of money can crack it. What about the restraining order? It's active, but enforcement depends on him violating it. Which, based on his profile, he will. She was right. 2 days after Harper was discharged, my phone buzzed at 11 p.m. Unknown number. I answered. Mr. Callahan? A young voice, scared. This is Paige. I'm Harper's friend from school. She told me to call you if anything happened. My blood went cold. What happened? Dominic showed up at my apartment. Harper's been staying with me because she was scared to be alone. He's banging on the door, screaming. We called 911, but lock yourselves in the bathroom. I'm 10 minutes away. I grabbed my keys and drove like hell. Called Detective Blake on the way. He's violating the restraining order. Get units to this address now. I arrived before the police. Dominic stood outside Paige's apartment door, slamming his fists against it. Harper, open this door. We need to talk. Step away from the door. My voice cut through the night like a blade. Dominic spun around. Mid-20s, athletic build, expensive clothes. Privilege written all over him. Who the hell are you? Her father. The one you should have thought about before you put your hands on her. Recognition flashed in his eyes, followed by something uglier. Arrogance. This is between me and my girlfriend. Walk away, old man. Girlfriend? You beat her unconscious. Threatened to kill your own child. That's not a relationship. That's assault. Dominic stepped closer. You don't know what she did. The way she talks back, disrespects me. Sometimes women need to learn. I moved faster than he expected. Had him face first against the wall, arm twisted behind his back. 23 years of training made it effortless. Touch her again, I said quietly near his ear, and there won't be enough left of you for the police to find. Sirens wailed in the distance. Dominic struggled but couldn't break free. You're assaulting me. I'll have you arrested. You violated a restraining order. I'm a citizen protecting victims. Big difference. 2 patrol cars pulled up. Officers rushed over. He violated the RO. I told them, releasing Dominic into their custody. 2 witnesses inside. Everything's recorded on that doorbell camera. They cuffed him. Dominic's face twisted with rage. This isn't over, he shouted as they pushed him toward the car. You think you can protect her? I'll get out again. I'll take my baby, and there's nothing you can do about it. The threat hung in the air even after they drove away. Harper and Paige emerged from the apartment, shaking. He's insane, Paige whispered. Completely insane. Harper looked at me with hollow eyes. He meant it, Dad. About taking the baby. He'll never stop. I put my arm around her shoulders. Then we make sure he can't. Pack your things. You're moving in with me. Security system, cameras, everything. He wants a war? He just declared one with the wrong veteran. Detective Blake called an hour later. Dominic made bail again. Judge set it at $100,000. His father paid it in cash. How is that possible? Money talks. But listen, Victor, his lawyer's already filing harassment charges against you for the physical altercation. He violated a restraining order. I know, and the charges won't stick. But be careful. They're looking for any excuse to paint you as the aggressor. Don't give them ammunition. After I hung up, Harper sat on my couch, hands on her belly. What do we do now? I looked at my daughter, bruised, terrified, but still fighting. Now, we prepare. And when he makes his next move, We'll be ready. What I didn't tell her was that I'd already called in a favor. My old Special Forces buddy, Adrian, now ran a private investigation firm. If Dominic had secrets, Adrian would find them. And everyone has secrets. Adrian showed up at my house the next morning. Hadn't seen him in 3 years, but he looked the same. Sharp eyes, calculating mind. Heard you need someone investigated, he said, shaking my hand. Dominic Cross. Everything. Criminal history, associates, finances, patterns. Anything that'll bury him. Adrian pulled out a tablet. Already started. Rich kid, 26, trust fund baby. Father owns Cross Industries, real estate development. Mother's a socialite. Dominic's their only son. Criminal record? Clean as a whistle. Publicly, anyway. But I pulled some strings with contacts at juvenile court. His records were sealed when he turned 18. My pulse quickened. Can you unseal them? Working on it. Takes time, connections. But there's something else. Adrian swiped through photos on his tablet. Dominic had a girlfriend before Harper. Girl named Eliza Monroe. She filed a police report 2 years ago claiming assault. Case disappeared 3 weeks later. She dropped all charges. The family paid her off. That's my guess. I tracked Eliza down. She's living in Oregon now. Different name, different life. Tried calling, but she won't talk. Whatever happened traumatized her enough to run. Harper entered the room. 8 months pregnant now, moving carefully. Who's Eliza? She asked. Adrian glanced at me, then back to Harper. Dominic's ex. He heard her too. Harper's face went pale. There were others? We don't know how many yet, I said gently. But we're finding out. Over the next 2 weeks, I turned my home into a fortress. Motion sensor lights, security cameras covering every angle, reinforced locks, panic buttons in every room. Harper didn't leave the house without me. Dominic stayed away. Too smart to violate the restraining order again with cameras everywhere. But his presence lingered like a shadow. Harper couldn't sleep. She'd wake up screaming, dreaming he'd gotten inside. I feel like I'm losing my mind, she told me one night. Every sound, every car passing by, I think it's him. That's what he wants. To make you feel powerless. Don't give him that. Easy for you to say. You're not the one carrying his child. The words hit harder than she meant them to. She was right. I could protect her physically, but the psychological torture? That was a different battlefield. Dr. Natalie Reeves, Harper's therapist, came twice a week. Specialized in trauma survivors. Your daughter's experiencing severe PTSD, Dr. Reeves told me privately. The hypervigilance, nightmares, panic attacks, all normal responses to prolonged abuse. She needs stability and safety to heal. She is both here. Physical safety, yes. But emotional safety? That takes time. The brain doesn't recover from trauma overnight. Meanwhile, Adrian kept digging. 2 weeks after our first meeting, he called with a breakthrough. Got into the sealed juvenile records. Victor, you need to hear this. I put him on speaker. Harper sat beside me. When Dominic was 16, he assaulted his then-girlfriend at a house party. Broke her jaw, 3 ribs, gave her a concussion. But here's the kicker. She was pregnant. Lost the baby from the injuries. Harper's hand flew to her mouth. The girl's family pressed charges, Adrian continued. Attempted murder, assault on an unborn child, the works. Then suddenly, all charges dropped. Family accepted a settlement, $2 million plus medical expenses. Record sealed. Dominic walked away clean. My hands curled into fists. He's done this before. Exactly this. There's more. I found 3 other women in his past. None pressed charges, but all have similar stories. Controlling behavior, isolation, physical violence. His family's been cleaning up his messes for a decade. Harper stood abruptly, pacing. So he'll get away with it again. His family will throw money at the problem, and I'll spend the rest of my life looking over my shoulder. Not this time, I said firmly. This evidence changes everything. Morgan needs to see this. I called the lawyer immediately. She arrived within an hour. Morgan reviewed Adrian's findings, her expression hardening with each page. This is exactly what we need. Pattern of behavior, prior incidents, sealed records. Judge won't like that the family's been hiding his violent history. Can we use it in court? Harper asked. Sealed juvenile records are tricky, but given the similarity to your case, pregnant victim, severe assault, we can petition to have them admitted, especially since there's a clear pattern of escalating violence. How long? I pressed. Trial's set for 6 weeks from now. I'll file the motion immediately. But Dominic wasn't waiting for trial. 3 days later, Harper's phone buzzed. New text from an unknown number. You think your daddy can protect you? I'm watching. Always watching. That baby's mine, and I'm taking her. Soon. Harper showed me with trembling hands. I forwarded it to Detective Blake and Morgan. He's escalating, Blake said over the phone. Making direct threats now. We'll trace the number, but he's probably using a burner phone. That night, I didn't sleep. Sat in the living room with every light off, watching security monitors. Nothing moved outside except wind through trees. At 3 a.m., Harper screamed. I rushed to her room. She sat up in bed, clutching her stomach. Dad, something's wrong. The baby, she's not moving. We were at the hospital in 15 minutes. Nurses rushed Harper into examination while I paced the waiting room like a caged animal. Dr. Chun emerged 30 minutes later. The baby's fine. Strong heartbeat. But Harper's under extreme stress. Her blood pressure's dangerously high. If this continues, we're looking at early labor or worse. What do I do? Reduce her stress. I know that's easier said than done given the circumstances, but her body can't take much more. How do you reduce stress when a violent predator's threatening your daughter daily? The answer came from an unexpected place. Detective Blake called the next morning. Victor, I need you to come to the station. Alone. There's something you should see. I left Harper with Paige and drove downtown. Blake led me to an interrogation room where footage played on a monitor. We've been tracking Dominic's movements. He doesn't know we're watching. Look at this. The video showed Dominic meeting with 2 men in a parking garage. Money exchanged hands. Aggressive gestures. One man handed Dominic something small. Looked like a key. Who are they? I asked. Low-level criminals. One has priors for breaking and entering, the other for assault. We think Dominic's hiring muscle. To do what? Blake's expression was grim. Best guess? Break into your house. Take Harper or the baby. Maybe both. The room went cold. When? We don't know. Could be tomorrow, could be next week. But he's planning something. And whatever it is, it's coming soon. I looked Blake dead in the eye. Then we set a trap. Use Harper as bait. Absolutely not. Too dangerous. He's coming anyway. At least this way, we're ready. We control the situation. Blake shook his head. If something goes wrong, nothing will go wrong. I've run operations more dangerous than this against enemies more trained than some punk and his hired thugs. We stared at each other. Finally, Blake sighed. You're not a soldier anymore, Victor. You're a civilian. The rules are different. The rules changed when he put my daughter in the hospital. Now, are you going to help me, or do I handle this alone? Blake was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, Tell me your plan. The plan was simple. Make it look like I'd left town, house vulnerable, Harper alone. Blake wasn't thrilled, but he positioned 2 unmarked units nearby. Adrian installed hidden cameras in every corner. Harper stayed at Paige's apartment while we set the stage. I posted on social media, something I never did, about visiting my brother in Colorado for the week. Left lights on timers. Parked my truck at a friend's house across town. Then I waited inside my own home in complete darkness, watching monitors. 2 days passed. Nothing. On the 3rd night, at 2:17 a.m., movement triggered the perimeter sensors. 3 figures approached from the backyard. Dominic and his 2 hired criminals. They moved cautiously, checking windows. I texted Blake. They're here. One man picked my back door lock in 40 seconds. Amateur, but effective. They slipped inside. I sat motionless in the shadows of my hallway, watching them through the doorway. They whispered to each other, spreading out to search rooms. Where is she? Dominic hissed. Check upstairs. They climbed the stairs. I followed silently, years of training making me invisible. Dominic kicked open Harper's bedroom door. Empty. Confusion crossed his face. She's not here, one thug muttered. Then we wait, Dominic said. She'll come back. We take her, disappear before anyone knows. That's when I stepped into the light. She's not coming back. But the police are. 3 heads whipped toward me. Dominic's eyes went wide. You, breaking and entering. Conspiracy to kidnap. Violation of a restraining order. That's 20 years minimum. The 2 thugs bolted, ran straight into Blake and 3 officers waiting downstairs. Shouts, scuffling, handcuffs clicking. Dominic stood frozen, rage and panic warring on his face. You set me up. You set yourself up. I just gave you the rope. You think this changes anything? My father will have me out by morning. You can't touch me. I stepped closer. Your father's not here. No lawyers. No money. Just you and the consequences you've been dodging your whole life. Dominic lunged at me. Stupid move. I sidestepped, grabbed his arm, and had him face down on the floor in 2 seconds. Blake appeared in the doorway. Victor, let him go. We've got him. I released Dominic to the officers. They dragged him downstairs, reading him his rights. Blake clapped my shoulder. Hell of a trap. Reckless, but effective. Will it stick this time? Caught red-handed, multiple witnesses, video evidence. Yeah, it'll stick. But I underestimated the Cross family's reach. Dominic made bail again. $500,000. His lawyer Quentin filed motions claiming entrapment, illegal surveillance, harassment. Morgan fought back hard. They're grasping at straws. Everything we did was legal. The evidence is solid. Then why's he still walking free? Harper asked, exhausted. Because the system's broken, I said bitterly. Money buys freedom. Harper went into labor 2 weeks early. Stress finally took its toll. I drove her to the hospital, gripping the wheel tight. She breathed through contractions, face pale. Dad, I'm scared. You're the strongest person I know. You've got this. 12 hours later, my granddaughter was born. 6 pounds, 2 ounces. Perfect. Harper held her, tears streaming down her face. Her name's Ivy. Because Ivy survives anything. I looked at that tiny baby and felt something shift inside me. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. This was about protecting the future. Security stayed tight at the hospital. No visitors except approved family. Blake posted an officer outside the maternity ward. On the 2nd day, the officer called me over. Someone tried accessing the wing 30 minutes ago. Male, mid-20s, claimed to be the father. Dominic. We turned him away, but he's probably still in the building. I found him in the parking garage, leaning against a concrete pillar. Stay away from them, I warned. Dominic smiled coldly. That's my daughter in there. You can't keep me from her. Watch me. You know what's funny? You think you've won. But I've got rights. Parental rights. The court will force Harper to let me see Ivy. Maybe even give me custody. What then, old man? His confidence made my blood boil, but he wasn't entirely wrong. Despite everything, the law still recognized him as the father. Over my dead body, I said quietly. That can be arranged. Before I could respond, he walked away, disappearing into the stairwell. I called Morgan immediately. He's threatening custody. Can he actually get it? Her silence said everything. Victor, legally? He's the biological father. Unless we can prove he's a danger to the child, the court might grant supervised visitation at minimum. He nearly killed Harper. Isn't that proof enough? It should be. But his lawyers will argue he's reformed, seeking help, wants to be better. They'll paint him as a victim of circumstance. It's an uphill battle. I hung up, staring at the hospital building where my daughter and granddaughter slept. Dominic was right about one thing. This wasn't over. But he was wrong about who would win. Harper came home 3 days later with Ivy. My house transformed overnight. Bottles, diapers, a crib in the guest room that became Harper's nursery. Watching Harper with Ivy broke and healed my heart simultaneously. She was a natural mother, gentle and protective. But the fear never left her eyes. Every sound made her jump. Every car passing by made her check the windows. "He's going to take her from me," she whispered one night while nursing Ivy. "I can feel it. That won't happen." "You can't promise that, Dad. His lawyers are already filing for paternity testing and visitation rights." She was right. 3 days later, court papers arrived. Dominic Cross was petitioning for joint custody. Morgan came over that evening, spreading documents across my kitchen table. "They're moving fast. Paternity test is scheduled for next week. If it confirms he's the father, which it will, they'll push for custody hearings immediately." "Based on what grounds?" I demanded. "He's facing criminal charges, which haven't gone to trial yet. Innocent until proven guilty. His lawyers argue he deserves a chance to be a father, that keeping him from his daughter is cruel and unusual." Harper's voice shook. "This is insane. He nearly killed us both." "I know," Morgan said gently, "and we'll fight it. Adrian's evidence about his past victims will help. But I need you to understand, even with everything we have, there's a chance the judge grants supervised visitation." "Supervised by who?" I asked. "Court-appointed monitor. Neutral location. Dominic gets 1 hour every other week while someone watches." Harper stood abruptly, Ivy cradled against her chest. "No, absolutely not. I won't let that monster near my baby. If you refuse, they'll hold you in contempt. Could lose custody entirely." The room went silent except for Ivy's soft breathing. "There has to be another way," I said. Morgan hesitated. "There is one option. It's aggressive, possibly unethical, but if Adrian can find something concrete about Dominic's connection to criminal activity, something current and provable, we could argue he's in active danger. Not just violent, but criminal. Judges take that seriously." I looked at Harper. She nodded slowly. "Do it," I told Morgan. "Whatever it takes." Adrian dove deeper into Dominic's life. Bank records, phone logs, social connections. 2 weeks of digging produced results. "Victor, you're going to want to see this." Adrian arrived with his laptop, pulling up financial records. Dominic's been moving large amounts of money offshore. We're talking hundreds of thousands. His family's rich. So what? It's not his family's money. It's coming from shell corporations linked to a drug trafficking operation. Dominic's not just a spoiled rich kid with anger issues. He's laundering money for criminals. My mind raced. "Can you prove it?" "I've got paper trails, transaction records, IP addresses linking him to the accounts. But here's where it gets interesting." Adrian opened another file. "Remember those 2 guys he hired to break into your house? They're not just random thugs. They work for the same trafficking ring. Dominic's connected to organized crime. Deep. His father probably doesn't even know. Dominic's been running this side operation for at least 2 years." I called Morgan immediately. She arrived within the hour, reviewing Adrian's findings with sharp focus. "This changes everything," she said. "If we can present this evidence, prove Dominic's involved in criminal enterprise, no judge will grant him custody. He'll be lucky to avoid federal charges. How do we present it without revealing Adrian broke about 50 laws getting this information?" I asked. Morgan smiled grimly. "We don't present it. We give it to the FBI and let them find it themselves." The next day, an anonymous tip reached the FBI's Financial Crimes Division. Adrian had packaged everything neatly: transactions, shell companies, criminal connections. Within 72 hours, federal agents raided Dominic's apartment. They found exactly what Adrian said they'd find: evidence of money laundering, communications with known criminals, records of illegal transactions. Dominic was arrested on federal charges. No bail this time. Too much of a flight risk with offshore accounts. Blake called with the news. "He's done, Victor. Facing 20 years minimum. The Cross family can't buy their way out of federal prosecution." Harper cried when I told her. Relief, exhaustion, everything pouring out at once. "It's really over?" she asked. "Not yet. Trial's still coming. But he's locked up. Can't hurt you anymore." That night, for the first time in months, Harper slept through without nightmares. But victory felt hollow. Dominic was behind bars, but the damage he'd caused lingered. Harper still flinched at loud noises, still checked locks obsessively, still held Ivy a little too tight, as if someone might rip her away. Dr. Reeves continued therapy sessions. Trauma doesn't disappear because the threat's gone. Harper's brain is rewired for survival mode. Recovery takes time. How much time? Years, possibly. But she's strong. With support, she'll heal. 2 months passed. Dominic's criminal trial moved forward. His assault charges against Harper were rolled into the federal case. Prosecutors wanted everything. Morgan kept us updated. They're offering him a plea deal. 15 years if he pleads guilty, gives up his criminal contacts. What about parental rights? Harper asked. Part of the deal includes voluntarily terminating all parental rights to Ivy. He'll have no legal claim to her whatsoever. Harper's eyes filled with tears. He'd agree to that. His lawyers are pushing for it. 15 years instead of life. He'll take the deal. 3 weeks later, Dominic signed the papers. Pleaded guilty to federal money laundering, conspiracy, and aggravated assault. Judge Natalie Brennan presided over the sentencing hearing. Harper insisted on being there. We sat in the courtroom as Dominic stood before the judge in an orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed. Judge Brennan reviewed the case with cold precision. Mr. Cross, your actions demonstrate a pattern of violence, manipulation, and criminal behavior spanning over a decade. You've hurt multiple women, endangered an unborn child, and participated in organized crime. I see no remorse, no accountability. Dominic stared at the floor. I hereby sentence you to 18 years in federal prison, followed by 10 years supervised release. You will have no contact with the victim or her child. Parental rights are permanently terminated. The gavel fell. Harper squeezed my hand. Ivy slept peacefully in her carrier beside us. As they led Dominic away, he looked back once. Not at Harper. At Ivy. Something cold flickered in his eyes. Not remorse. Calculation. Life settled into something resembling normal. Harper enrolled in online classes to finish her nursing degree. Ivy grew fast. Her first smile, first laugh, first time she grabbed my finger. But that look Dominic gave in the courtroom haunted me. I'd seen that expression before, on enemy combatants who'd sworn revenge even as we captured them. 6 months after sentencing, I got a call from Detective Blake. Victor, we need to talk. In person. He arrived an hour later, tension written across his face. Dominic's been writing letters from prison. Dozens of them. To his father, to old associates, to people we can't identify. That's not illegal. No. But prison officials flagged some for concerning content. References to unfinished business and making things right. They're vague enough to avoid direct threats, but the implication is clear. My jaw tightened. He's planning something. We think so. His father visited last week. Guards overheard part of the conversation. Dominic asked about Harper and Ivy specifically. Wanted to know where they're living, what they're doing. His father told him, we don't know. But Victor, Dominic still has connections on the outside. Money, loyalty, people who owe him favors from his trafficking days. Just because he's locked up doesn't mean he's powerless. I called Morgan immediately. She was equally concerned. Legally, there's not much we can do. He hasn't made direct threats. But I'll contact the prison warden, request increased monitoring of his communications and visitors. Harper overheard the conversation. Her face went pale. He's never going to let us go, is he? He's in prison for 18 years, I reminded her. Can't hurt you from there. You don't know him like I do, Dad. Dominic doesn't forget. Doesn't forgive. He'll find a way. I wanted to tell her she was being paranoid. But my instincts agreed with her. 2 weeks later, those instincts proved correct. I was grocery shopping when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello. Mr. Callahan. A man's voice, smooth and professional. My name is Quentin Stone. I was Dominic Cross's attorney. I know who you are. What do you want? To warn you. Dominic contacted me yesterday with an unusual request. He wants me to file an appeal on his parental rights termination. That's not possible. He signed those away as part of his plea deal. Normally, You'd be right. But Dominic claims he signed under duress, that prosecutors threatened him with life in prison if he didn't relinquish his rights. He's arguing coercion. My blood ran cold. Will that work? Probably not. But it'll drag you back into court, reopen everything. Harper will have to testify again. It'll take months, maybe years to resolve. And Dominic knows that. He wants to make your lives hell, even from behind bars. Why are you telling me this? Quentin was quiet for a moment. Because I have a daughter. If someone hurt her the way Dominic hurt Harper, I'd want to know what was coming. Consider this professional courtesy. He hung up. I stood in the grocery store parking lot, groceries forgotten, rage building in my chest. Morgan confirmed Quentin's warning the next day. The appeal was filed this morning. It's frivolous and will likely be denied, but we have to respond. Harper needs to prepare for depositions, possibly testimony. Harper broke down when I told her. I can't do this again. I can't face him, even in a courtroom. You won't have to face him. He's appearing via video from prison. It doesn't matter. He's still controlling my life. Still terrorizing me. When does it end? I had no answer. The appeal process dragged on. Depositions, hearings, legal motions. Dominic appeared on screen from prison each time, stone-faced and calculating. His new lawyer argued passionately. My client was scared, coerced into giving up his child. He deserves a second chance at fatherhood. Morgan destroyed him. Your client beat his pregnant girlfriend unconscious, threatened to kill their baby, violated restraining orders, and laundered money for drug traffickers. He deserves exactly what he got, nothing. Judge Brennan denied the appeal after 6 months of proceedings. Mr. Cross, your claims of coercion are unfounded and frankly insulting to this court. You made your choices. You'll live with the consequences. Appeal denied. Do not waste this court's time again. But Dominic wasn't done. 3 months later, his father Richard Cross filed a lawsuit. Grandparents' rights, claiming he deserved relationship with Ivy. This is a legal workaround, Morgan explained. If Richard gets visitation with Ivy, guess we'll be discussing her during prison visits with Dominic? Can he win? Grandparents' rights are complicated. In cases where the father's rights are terminated due to criminal behavior, courts rarely grant them. But Richard Cross has resources. He'll make this painful. He did. Another year of legal battles. Richard claimed to be a reformed man, apologetic for his son's actions, desperate to know his only grandchild. Harper testified. Richard Cross enabled his son's violence for years. Paid off victims, sealed records, bought his way out of consequences. He doesn't care about Ivy. He's doing this for Dominic. The judge agreed. Case dismissed. But the damage was done. Harper was exhausted, emotionally drained. Ivy was 2 years old now, asking why Mommy cried so much. I can't keep fighting, Harper told me one night. Every time we win, they come back with something new. It's been 3 years, Dad. 3 years of constant legal warfare. We can't give up. I'm not giving up. I'm just tired. So tired. That's when Adrian called with information that changed everything. Victor, I've been monitoring Dominic in prison. Tracking his communications, visitor logs, everything. Found something disturbing. What? Dominic's been in contact with someone on the outside. Someone dangerous. Former associate from his trafficking days named Kyle Mercer. Kyle was released from prison 6 months ago. What's he doing? Near as I can tell, surveillance. Kyle's been spotted near your neighborhood 3 times in the past month. Different vehicles, always keeping distance. He's watching you. The threat was no longer theoretical. It was active, immediate, and closing in. I upgraded security immediately. More cameras, motion sensors. Hired a private security firm to patrol nights. Adrian ran background on Kyle Mercer, career criminal, assault convictions, suspected enforcer for trafficking rings. He's not watching for fun, Adrian said. Dominic hired him for something. Question is what? Blake put surveillance on Kyle, but the man was careful. Never violated laws, never got close enough to justify arrest. Harper noticed the increased security. It's happening again, isn't it? He's coming for us. Not if we're prepared. We're always prepared, Dad. But preparation doesn't stop him. Nothing stops him. She was spiraling. Dr. Reeves increased therapy sessions to 3 times weekly. Harper's developing severe anxiety disorder. Dr. Reeves told me privately. The constant threat, never-ending legal battles. It's destroying her mental health. She needs this to end, Victor. Truly end. How? Dominic's in prison for 15 more years. Distance. New identities. Witness protection if possible. Something that breaks the cycle completely. I contacted the FBI agent who'd handled Dominic's case. Agent Preston Ward listened to everything. Mr. Callahan, I sympathize. But witness protection is for witnesses against organized crime who face imminent danger. Dominic's locked up. His associate is watching your house, which is creepy but not illegal. So we do nothing? I didn't say that. Keep documenting everything. If Kyle makes a move, we'll be ready. But right now, my hands are tied. 2 weeks later, Kyle made his move. Harper was at the park with Ivy. Routine afternoon, playground filled with kids and parents. I was watching from a bench 20 feet away. A man approached Harper. Mid-30s, tattoos on his forearms. Kyle Mercer. I was on my feet instantly, moving toward them. Kyle spoke quietly to Harper. Her face went white. She pulled Ivy closer. Harper. I called out, closing the distance. Kyle looked at me, smiled coldly, then walked away. Disappeared into the parking lot before I reached them. Harper was shaking. He said Dominic wants me to know he hasn't forgotten. That prison's temporary. That Ivy's going to know her real father someday. I called Blake immediately. He arrived with 2 officers within minutes, but Kyle was gone. Did he threaten you directly? Blake asked Harper. No, just implied things. He was careful with his words. Then legally, there's nothing we can charge him with. Talking to someone in a public park isn't a crime. I wanted to punch something. Instead, I took Harper and Ivy home. That night, Adrian called with worse news. Kyle met with someone else today. After the park incident, he drove across town and met with a woman. I ran facial recognition. Her name's Tessa Grant. She's a family court attorney. Why would Dominic's enforcer meet with a family lawyer? That's what worries me. I hacked into her email. Don't ask how. Found correspondence about Ivy's case. Someone's paying Tessa to find legal loopholes, ways to challenge the parental rights termination. We already beat that appeal. New angle. Tessa's researching cases where biological fathers successfully regained rights years after termination. It's rare, but possible under specific circumstances. My stomach dropped. Dominic's playing a long game. Exactly. He knows he's got 15 years in prison. So he's building a legal strategy for when he gets out. By then, Ivy will be 17. If he can get rights reinstated, he'll have leverage over Harper for the rest of her life. I told Morgan everything. She looked grim. Adrian's right. I've seen cases like this. Father serves time, claims rehabilitation, argues he deserves relationship with his now adult child. Some judges buy it. What do we do? Move. Change your names. Disappear completely. It's the only way to guarantee Dominic can't find you when he's released. I presented the option to Harper that night. We could relocate. Different state. New identities. Start completely over. Dominic would never find us. Harper looked at Ivy, sleeping peacefully on the couch. Run away and hide for the rest of our lives. It's not running. It's protecting your daughter. No, Dad. It's exactly running. And I'm done running. Done letting him control every decision. Done living in fear. Harper, I mean it. We've built a life here. I'm finishing my degree. Ivy has friends at daycare. You have your home. I won't let Dominic take that from us. Her strength amazed me, but it also terrified me. Then we fight smarter, I said. No more playing defense. Time to go on offense. Adrian, Blake, Morgan, and I met the next day. Strategy session. We need to cut off Dominic's resources, Morgan said. His father's money is funding everything. Lawyers, Kyle's surveillance, all of it. How do we stop Richard Cross? I asked. Adrian pulled up files on his laptop. I've been digging into Cross Industries. Richards built his empire through some questionable practices: bribery, tax evasion, illegal land deals. Nothing proven, but patterns exist. You're suggesting we investigate Richard? Blake asked carefully. I'm suggesting we give the IRS and SEC reason to investigate Richard. Let the government do our dirty work. It took 6 months. Adrian compiled evidence. Anonymous tips reached federal agencies. Audits began. Cross-industries fell apart under scrutiny. Richard faced indictments for fraud, tax evasion, conspiracy. His assets were frozen pending trial. Without his father's money, Dominic's legal options dried up. Tessa Grant disappeared from the case. Kyle Mercer stopped showing up near our house. Harper watched the news coverage of Richard's arrest with quiet satisfaction. Think Dominic knows yet? She asked. He knows. Whole prison probably knows. 2 weeks later, we got confirmation. Dominic tried attacking a guard. Caught with a makeshift weapon. Sentenced to additional 5 years in maximum security, solitary confinement. He's breaking, Blake told us. Losing control. Without his father's influence, he's just another inmate. Harper allowed herself a small smile. Good. Let him break. For the first time in years, the threat felt distant. Real peace seemed possible, but I learned not to trust peace. And I was right. For years past. Ivy turned 6, bright, curious, full of life. She called me Papa and asked endless questions about everything. Harper graduated with her nursing degree, got a job at Grace Memorial, the same hospital where this nightmare began. Full circle, she called it. I want to help people who've been through what I went through, she explained. Make something good come from all that pain. Dominic remained in maximum security. No more letters, no more legal challenges. Richard Cross was convicted, serving 12 years himself. The family empire crumbled. We'd won. Really, truly won. Harper even started dating. A guy named Logan she met at the hospital. Paramedic, kind eyes, gentle with Ivy. He knew about Dominic, about everything, and stayed anyway. He's good for her, Dr. Reeves told me during one of Harper's now monthly check-ins. She's healing, Victor. Finally healing. I let myself believe it. Let my guard down. That's when everything changed. Agent Preston Ward called me at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday. Victor, we have a situation. Dominic Cross escaped custody during a prison transfer yesterday. The words didn't register at first. Escaped? How? Transfer van was ambushed on the highway. 3 armed men, professional operation. Killed 2 guards, wounded 3 others. Dominic and another inmate disappeared. My blood turned to ice. How long has he been gone? 26 hours. We've issued an APB, FBI's involved, but so far nothing. Victor, you need to get Harper and Ivy somewhere safe. Now. I hung up and ran to Harper's room. She was getting Ivy ready for school. Pack a bag. Both of you. We're leaving. Harper saw my face and knew. He's out. Yes. Her hands started shaking. Ivy looked confused. Mommy? What's wrong? Nothing, sweetheart. We're going on an adventure with Papa. I called Adrian while Harper packed. Need a safe house. Untraceable. Can you get one in the next hour? Already on it. Sending you coordinates now. It's off-grid, secure. I'll meet you there. We left everything behind. Drove 3 hours to a cabin in the mountains, surrounded by forest, no neighbors for miles. Blake coordinated with the FBI. Every law enforcement agency in the country was hunting Dominic. How did this happen? I demanded over the phone. The ambush was too precise, Blake admitted. Someone on the inside helped plan it. We're investigating. But right now our priority is finding him before he finds you. Harper sat on the cabin's couch, holding Ivy close. He's coming for us. I know he is. Let him try. This time I'm ready. Adrian arrived with weapons, surveillance equipment, supplies. We turned the cabin into a fortress. FBI traced the ambush crew, Adrian said. All 3 men have connections to the trafficking ring Dominic worked with. This was organized, funded. Someone wants him free. Who? Working on it. But Dominic didn't escape randomly. He escaped now for a reason. That reason became clear 3 days later. A package arrived at the cabin. No return address, no postmark, just a manila envelope left on the porch. Adrian checked it for explosives. Clean. Inside was a single photograph. Ivy at her school playground. Taken 2 weeks ago. Harper's scream filled the cabin. He's been watching her. Planning this. A note accompanied the photo, handwritten. I know where she goes to school. Where you work. Where you live. You took 6 years from me. I'm taking what's mine. Soon. No signature needed. Blake's team descended on the school, Harper's hospital, my house. Increased security everywhere. He's taunting us, Blake said. Wants you scared. It's working, Harper whispered. Days turned into a week. No sign of Dominic. Every sound made us jump. Every car passing on the distant road made my hand move toward my weapon. Ivy knew something was wrong. 6 years old, but smart. Papa, why are we hiding? Just keeping you safe, sweetheart. From the bad man? Harper and I exchanged looks. We'd never told Ivy about Dominic. She was too young to understand. What bad man? I asked carefully. The one Mommy has nightmares about. I hear her crying sometimes. She says a name. Dominic. Harper pulled Ivy close, tears streaming. You're safe, baby. Papa won't let anyone hurt you. But could I keep that promise? On day 9, Adrian's equipment picked up movement. Someone was approaching through the woods, careful and deliberate. Single target, moving tactical, Adrian said, watching monitors. Could be a hiker, but it's him, I interrupted. Has to be. I grabbed my rifle, moved to the window. Harper took Ivy to the reinforced back bedroom. Through the scope, I saw him. Dominic Cross, wearing stolen hunting gear, carrying a pistol. He looked thinner, harder. Prison and escape had changed him. But his eyes were the same. Cold, calculating, focused. He stopped 50 yards from the cabin, staring directly at the window where I stood. Then he smiled, raised his hand, waved, and disappeared back into the trees. He knows we're here, Adrian said. This was reconnaissance. He'll be back with a plan. I called Blake. Dominic just made contact. We need extraction now. Tactical teams en route. ETA 40 minutes. Stay inside, stay armed. 40 minutes felt like hours. We waited in tense silence, weapons ready. Then Harper's phone buzzed. Unknown number. Text message. She showed it to me, hand trembling. You can run. You can hide. You can bring an army. Won't matter. Ivy's mine. Always has been. Always will be. See you soon, Harper. Real soon. Harper looked at me with absolute terror. He's never going to stop. Even if they catch him again, he'll escape again. He'll keep coming forever. She was right. And I knew what I had to do. The thing I'd been avoiding for 6 years. I had to end this permanently. One way or another. The tactical team arrived in armored vehicles. 8 agents, full gear, thermal imaging equipment. They swept the woods, found nothing. Dominic had vanished like smoke. He's had special forces level training somewhere, the team leader said. Moving through terrain without leaving traces. We'll keep searching, but he's good. Blake pulled me aside. Victor, I know that look. Don't do anything stupid. Define stupid. Going after him yourself. This isn't Afghanistan. You're not a soldier anymore. Let us handle it. You've been handling it for 6 years. He's still coming. Blake's expression hardened. If you engage Dominic and something happens, you'll face charges. Self-defense only works if he attacks first. Then I'll make sure he attacks first. We relocated to a FBI safe house in the city. Secure building, 24/7 protection. Ivy thought it was an adventure, staying in a place with secret guards. Harper wasn't fooled. You're planning something. I can see it. I'm planning to keep you safe. By doing what? Hunting him down? Getting yourself killed? If that's what it takes. She grabbed my arm. Dad, you can't. I already lost Mom. I can't lose you too. Ivy can't lose you. And I can't lose either of you. Dominic won't stop until he's dead, or we are. Those are the only 2 endings here. Harper's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't argue. She knew I was right. Adrian worked his contacts, tracking any sign of Dominic. Bank activity, stolen vehicles, anything. He's got help, Adrian reported. Someone's supplying him money, resources, information. The trafficking network is still protecting him. Find out who. Find out where. It took 3 days. Adrian traced a burner phone used near the safe house back to a warehouse on the industrial side of town. It's a front for the old trafficking operation, Adrian explained. Dominic's probably using it as a base. But Victor, this isn't just him anymore. Could be 5, 10 guys in there. Armed. Dangerous. Then we bring overwhelming force. Blake, FBI SWAT. In this tonight. Blake assembled a raid team. 20 officers, full tactical gear. They hit the warehouse at 4 a.m. Found it abandoned. Empty except for a single item left on a table in the middle of the space. Ivy's stuffed rabbit. The one she'd been sleeping with at the cabin before we evacuated. He was in the cabin after we left, Harper whispered, horror in her voice. In her room. Touching her things. The message was clear. He could get to Ivy anytime he wanted. Agent Preston Ward took over the investigation personally. This has escalated beyond local jurisdiction. Dominic's classified as a domestic terrorist now. Full federal resources. Doesn't matter how many resources you throw at him, I said. He's always one step ahead. Then we change the game. Make him come to us on our terms. How? Preston looked at me carefully. We use you as bait. Set a trap. Dominic wants revenge against you for destroying his life. Let him think he can get it. Harper shook her head violently. No, absolutely not. I won't let you use my father too. It's the only way. I interrupted. Dominic's too smart to fall for a standard trap. But his hatred for me? That's personal. That's exploitable. We planned for 2 days. The trap would be set at my original house, the one we'd abandoned but still owned. Dominic knew it well from his previous attempts. Adrian spread word through criminal channels that I'd returned home alone, convinced the threat was over. Bait too tempting to ignore. The house was wired with cameras, sensors, armed agents in every shadow. I sat in the living room, appearing alone, waiting. Harper and Ivy remained at the FBI safe house with Preston's best agents. This is insane, Harper told me before I left. You're 60 years old. You're not indestructible. I'm also not helpless. And I'm not letting that monster terrorize my family for another day. 48 hours passed. Nothing. Then, on the 3rd night, motion sensors triggered. Someone was cutting through the back fence. We have contact. Blake's voice crackled through my earpiece. Single target, approaching from the east. Stay calm. Let him get inside. I sat perfectly still, watching security monitors from my peripheral vision. Dominic climbed through a window silently. He'd lost weight, looked feral. Prison and life on the run had stripped away the polished rich kid. What remained was pure predator. He moved through the house like a ghost, checking rooms. Then he saw me sitting in the living room, back to the hallway. Hello, Victor, Dominic said quietly. I turned slowly. He stood 10 feet away, holding a knife. It's over, Dominic. You're surrounded. 20 armed agents waiting for my signal. He smiled. I know. That's why I didn't come alone. My blood froze. Dominic spoke into a radio. Now. Somewhere across the city, an explosion. Then another. Blake's voice shouted through my earpiece. The safe house. It's under attack. Dominic's smile widened. Did you really think I'd fall for something this obvious? You're not the only one who can set a trap, old man. My associates are hitting the FBI safe house right now, while all your resources are here. Harper and Ivy are defenseless. Every instinct screamed at me to run, to get to them. But moving would trigger the agents to storm in, and Dominic would disappear in the chaos. Last chance, Dominic continued. Call off your dogs. Let me walk out of here, or my people kill everyone in that safe house. Harper, Ivy, every agent inside. Your choice. You've got 10 seconds. The knife glinted in his hand. Outside, I heard agents repositioning. Dominic started counting. 10, 9, 8. I had to make a choice. Capture Dominic and risk Harper and Ivy dying. Or let him go and lose him again. 3, 2. I made my decision. 1. I raised my hand. Wait. Dominic's eyes gleamed with victory. Smart man. Now call them off. Can't do that, I said calmly. Because you're bluffing. His expression faltered for half a second. That was enough. Those explosions weren't at the safe house, I continued. They were across town at abandoned buildings. Adrian's been feeding false information through your network for days. You think you know where Harper and Ivy are. You're wrong. Dominic's grip on the knife tightened. You're lying. Am I? Check your radio. Ask your associates for confirmation. He pressed the radio. Status report. Now. Static. Then a voice, confused. Boss, we hit the location. Building's empty. It's a decoy. Rage flooded Dominic's face. He lunged at me with the knife. I was ready. Sidestepped, grabbed his wrist, twisted hard. The knife clattered to the floor. 23 years of combat training against his prison yard brawling. Agents crashed through doors and windows, guns drawn. Down. On the ground. Dominic fought like a trapped animal, but 6 agents subdued him within seconds. Cuffed, face pressed against my living room floor. Blake stood over him. Dominic Cross, you're under arrest for escape, assault on federal officers, attempted murder, and about 15 other charges. This time, you're never seeing daylight again. They hauled him up. Dominic's eyes locked on mine, pure hatred burning. This isn't over, he spat. I'll get out again. I'll find them. No, I interrupted quietly. You won't. Because you just made your final mistake. What mistake? I leaned closer. Attacking federal agents during an active investigation. That's a federal terrorism charge. You're not going to regular prison anymore, Dominic. You're going to ADX Florence. Supermax. 23 hours a day in a concrete box. No contact, no visitors, no letters. You'll spend the rest of your life alone with your thoughts. And every single day, you'll know that Ivy's out there, happy, safe, and she'll never know your name. The realization hit him. His face crumbled. No, you can't. Already done. Agent Preston fast-tracked the paperwork. You're leaving for Colorado tomorrow. They dragged him toward the door. He screamed threats, promises of revenge, but they were empty. Desperate. The door closed. Silence filled the house. Blake put a hand on my shoulder. You okay? Ask me when I see my family. Adrian drove me to the real safe house, a location only 5 people knew. Harper and Ivy were waiting, protected by agents who'd never left their side. The moment I walked through the door, Ivy ran to me. Papa, you're back. I scooped her up, held her tight. Harper wrapped her arms around both of us, sobbing with relief. It's over, I whispered. Really over this time. Harper pulled back, searching my face. He's Supermax prison. 23-hour isolation. He'll never contact us, never threaten us, never touch another person again. She collapsed against me, 6 years of terror finally releasing. Agent Preston arrived an hour later with official confirmation. Dominic Cross has been transferred to federal Supermax custody. His associates were arrested during the staged attack. The entire trafficking network has been dismantled. FBI's calling it one of the most successful domestic terrorism operations this year. What about his appeals? Legal challenges? Harper asked, voice shaking. Won't matter. Federal terrorism charges override everything else. He's classified as an ongoing threat to national security. No judge will grant him anything. He's gone, Miss Callahan. Permanently. Harper broke down completely. Years of anguish pouring out in gut-wrenching sobs. Dr. Reeves came by the next day. This is good, she assured me while Harper slept. She's releasing trauma she's carried for years. The healing can truly begin now. We moved back home 2 weeks later. The security stayed. I wasn't taking chances, but life felt different. Lighter. Ivy started first grade. Harper returned to work. Logan proposed, and Harper said yes. A good man, ready to be a father to Ivy. 6 months after Dominic's capture, we received official notification from the Department of Justice. Dominic Cross had been placed in permanent solitary confinement for attacking guards at ADX Florence. No possibility of release, no contact with the outside world. He really is gone, Harper whispered, reading the letter. Forever. I watched Ivy playing in the backyard, laughing without a care in the world. She'd never remember the fear, the running, the nightmare that had consumed the first 6 years of her life. Harper joined me at the window. Think she'll ever ask about her biological father? Maybe. And when she does, we'll tell her the truth. That he was dangerous, that we protected her, and that she's loved beyond measure by people who matter. And if she wants more details someday, then we'll be honest. But we'll also make sure she knows biology doesn't make you family. Love does. Choice does. Harper leaned against me. I spent 6 years waiting for the other shoe to drop. For him to come back, to ruin everything. I don't know how to live without that fear. One day at a time. That's all any of us can do. Logan arrived for dinner that evening. Ivy ran to him, showing off a drawing from school. He admired it like it was a masterpiece, making her giggle. She calls him Dad now, Harper told me quietly. Logan. She calls him Dad. How do you feel about that? Like maybe we're finally getting the happy ending we deserved all along. That night, after everyone had gone to bed, I sat on the porch with a cup of coffee. Stars filled the sky, crickets sang in the darkness. My phone buzzed. Message from Blake. Dominic attempted suicide today. Failed. Medical staff stabilized him. Thought you should know. I stared at the message for a long time. Felt nothing. No satisfaction, no pity. Just nothing. He'd chosen his path. Made his decisions. Now he'd live with the consequences in a concrete box, alone, forgotten. Meanwhile, my family would live, love, and thrive. Justice wasn't always clean, but sometimes it was enough. 5 years later, I stood in the crowd watching Ivy's school play. 11 years old now, confident and bright, playing the lead role with zero fear. Harper sat beside me, wedding ring glinting on her finger. Logan held her hand. They'd married 2 years ago in a small ceremony. Family only, no drama, pure joy. Harper had been promoted to head nurse in the pediatric trauma unit. She specialized in helping abused children, using her own story to give them hope. Survivors recognize survivors, she told me once. These kids see me and know, if I made it through, they can too. Logan adopted Ivy officially last year. The courthouse was the same one where Dominic had been sentenced. Full circle in the best way. Ivy knew the basics. She knew her biological father was a bad man who'd hurt people. She knew Logan chose to be her dad, and that choice meant everything. Do you think about him? She'd asked me once. The bad man. Sometimes, I admitted. But not the way I used to. He doesn't scare me anymore. He's just gone. Good, Ivy said firmly. Bad people should stay gone. Out of the mouths of children. Dr. Reeves called Harper's recovery remarkable. PTSD doesn't disappear, but she's learned to manage it. The nightmares are rare now. The hypervigilance has eased. She's reclaimed her life. Adrian stopped by occasionally, checking security systems, making sure we stayed safe. Old habits die hard. Any word on Dominic? I asked during his last visit. Still in Supermax. Still in solitary. Heard he's lost his mind completely. Talks to walls, refuses food sometimes. He's a shell. Part of me felt satisfaction. A darker part felt nothing at all. The play ended. Ivy took her bow to thunderous applause. She spotted us in the crowd, waved excitedly. After the show, we took her for ice cream. She chattered about her performance, future dreams, normal 11-year-old stuff. Papa, you're quiet, Ivy observed. You okay? I smiled at my granddaughter. Strong, safe, loved. Everything we'd fought for. I'm perfect, sweetheart. Just happy. That night, Harper and I sat on my porch like we'd done countless times over the years. You ever regret it? She asked. Everything we went through. Every single day? But regret doesn't change the past. No, Harper agreed. But it shaped our future. Made us stronger. Made us us. She was right. The trauma had scarred us, but it hadn't broken us. We'd survived. More than that, we'd thrived. Dad, I need to tell you something. Harper's voice grew serious. I'm writing a book. About everything. The abuse, the legal battles, Dominic, all of it. Why? Because somewhere out there, another woman is living what I lived. Scared, trapped, thinking she can't escape. I want her to know she can. I want her to know there's hope on the other side of hell. Pride swelled in my chest. Your mother would be so proud of you. Think so. I know so. You took the worst experience imaginable and turned it into purpose. That's courage. Harper wiped tears from her eyes. None of this would have been possible without you. You saved us, Dad. You saved us when I couldn't save myself. That's what fathers do. We protect our children, no matter what. We sat in comfortable silence, watching fireflies dance in the darkness. My phone buzzed. Message from Agent Preston. Dominic Cross died today. Heart attack. Thought you should know. It's finally over. I showed Harper the message. She read it twice, her expression unreadable. How do you feel? I asked. I don't know. I thought I'd feel relief or closure or something, but I just feel empty, like he already died years ago, and this is just the paperwork catching up. That's because he did die. The moment we stopped being afraid of him, he lost all power. Today's news just makes it official. Harper nodded slowly. Should we tell Ivy? Someday, when she's older and asks questions. But for now, let her be a kid. Let her live without that shadow. Yeah, Harper agreed. Let her live. She stood, hugged me tight. Thank you, Dad. For everything. For never giving up. For being the father every girl deserves. I love you, sweetheart. Always have, always will. After Harper left, I sat alone with the news of Dominic's death. No celebration. No triumph. Just quiet acknowledgement that a chapter had finally, truly closed. Somewhere in the house, I heard Ivy laughing at something Logan said. The sound of a family living without fear. That was victory enough. I looked up at the stars, thinking of my wife who'd passed so many years ago, wondering if she'd seen everything, if she knew her daughter had survived the unsurvivable. We made it, I whispered to the night. She's safe. They're both safe. The wind rustled through the trees, almost like an answer. Tomorrow, Ivy had a soccer game. Harper had a shift at the hospital. Logan was grilling dinner. Normal, beautiful, ordinary life. The kind of life worth fighting for. The kind of life we'd earned. I finished my coffee, locked up the house, and went to bed. For the first time in 11 years, I slept without nightmares. The Yindi, before you go, I need to ask you something important. What's the most powerful emotion you felt during this story? Was it the fear, the anger, the hope, or the justice? Drop your answer in the comments below. I read every single one. And here's something else I'm curious about. Where in the world are you watching this from? Whether you're listening from New York, London, Mumbai, Sydney, or anywhere in between, comment your city or country. I love knowing this story reached you. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Tell me in the comments, what kind of stories do you want to hear more of? Betrayal stories? Military revenge? Family drama? Emotional justice? Let me know what speaks to you, and I'll bring you more stories crafted exactly the way you love them. Stay safe out there. Take care of the people you love. And remember, sometimes the strongest revenge is simply surviving and thriving. I'll see you in the next thriller, in the next epic revenge story, in the next tale that'll keep you hooked until the very last word. Until then, take care. Story is finished.